Hello everybody, my name is Crimson Dusk. I'm an experienced blade dancer and I'll try to pass on to you my wisdom and the knowledge I've attained from playing since day one in Blade and Soul. So first of all, for your gear, in PVE I recommend using this type of gear. It puts you directly at 650 EP and makes it possible with a minimum investment in order to obtain these items. So for you basically use your Hogmoon jewelry. So I recommend upgrading the ring and the earring, which give both good stats in priority. You can then upgrade your necklace, but you're not obliged to max it out since it doesn't give that many stats. It's kind of a waste of gold. However, you can max it by all means. For bracelet, I use a piston bracelet, which is easily obtainable from layer 6, and it's better. There's a better version, the Asura bracelet, but it's not that easily farmable, and you need to get lucky in order to obtain it. So for now, I'll skip it. So for your soul shields, you should have 5 Asura pieces and 3 Oblivion soul shield pieces. These are not the beasts except for this one, and you can use them to get a better one. You can fuse the Oblivion soul shields into Asura soul shields if you want, or the Asura into Oblivion. You can use those. If anything that has decent crit chance you can use to fuse. So regardless, now let's talk about the build. This is a PvE build that most players use. It's a pretty standard build. So you have the lightning draw, flicker, to the left side. Thunder, it's optional, but you can get this one since it does more damage. Blade Storm, you use this one. As for the RMB, if you're doing solo content, you can use Blade Guard, but it is not useful if you're in a group, so you can just use Lightning Strike. Rolling Typhoon 1 point, or you can put 2 if you want. Actually, let's put 2 into this is it's pretty good actually. Then you can put lightning flash on the red side. Blitzblade, it's a very useful skill because some bosses or mobs use a defense skill, and I mean they use block, and you can just cancel them by pressing F. As for your tab, if there is a blade master or another blade dancer in your party, you can use this version, because if they use their block ability, the iframe ability, you will not be able to use yours, so it's a waste of it's kinda a waste actually. But if there is nobody who has an iframe in your party, like Blade Master or Blade Dancer, by all means use Maelstrom, this version, so that you buff your allies and they become invulnerable. For your tab, I've put 1 point here because you can actually get stunned or something, and if you don't have those, you're kinda CC'd. For the boot, you can put 1 point so that your knockdown is actually longer. For this thing, you can actually use Soaring Falcon, the second tire, so that you can use a quick CC like this. Like you can press 1 SS1 and the boss will be knocked down, which is actually pretty good. However, if you want, you can swap it out and put this point so that you can just recover. If you have chi management issues, you can just use this. However, you have to put Uncobiter, the knockdown version, so that you have 2 knockdowns and 1 stun. Since you will not have that many focus issues if you use this version, you can just use 2 to stun the opponent, or 1-3 in order to knock him down. So yeah, it's pretty cool. So some mobs this is actually pretty interesting, or you can just use this and this version. You can still knock them down like this, but you can also use 2 in order to stun them. This is useful for bosses that have very short frames where you can CC them. Some bosses, they are easily CCable for a long period of time, however some bosses need to be CC'd very quickly. So I actually use this version of PVE build when such a boss is present. However, if for instance Lord Pyre cannot be CC'd, you can just roll with this. It's used in order to recover your focus and do some actually pretty good damage. So you'll see afterwards how the PVE rotation works, more or less. So for your grab, you just use this version so that you have the restraint skill. Flaming Scourge, you can put 5 points if you have the HM skill to boost very well your damage. For Thunder Slash, you could use this version, however you will lose quite a bit of DPS, so it's better to use this version. But if you want to iframe or something, you could use this, but it is not very recommended. So for your C is this Stormcleave. Some people like to use the dual strike in order to regen HP. It works, but then again you lose a lot of damage, so it's not actually worth it. Unless you have ping issues or something that doesn't allow you to iframe damages. Or you're doing solo content like Naxxon, could use this. So if you fuck up, you can pretty much regen your HP, but if you're good to go, you can just use Stormcleave. And this is important, Electric Focus, in order to have more stacks of your, how do you call it, Lightning Flash, Electric Focus. So let's see how the PVE rotation works. So basically the objective of a Blade Dancer is to be permanently in drawing stance. So I prefer to use this version because it just gives me, it makes CCing bosses easy, especially if you pug where other people rarely use CCs. You can just stun them and grab. I actually don't have a soul badge, but if you can just buy the soul badge in order to reset your phantom grip, your grab. Basically, first of all, you could engage like this. The objective is to get behind your opponent. So let's say if you use X in front of him, you will not produce any electric surges. However, if you use it behind him, the Thunder Slash skill, it will produce electric focus, which will allow you to any cancel. For instance, like this, I hit him from behind and I can use my F, because in the 1 second that you hit him, you'll produce more stacks. So it could be interesting to engage with Thunder Slash, however, engage them from behind, not from the front. Like you hit, here you produced two Fs. And one other thing to note is that if you want to anti-cancel properly, you can't just spam like this. No. Here I'm just spamming RF, I mean left click F. However, you're losing damage this way and also focus because you're not anti-canceling properly. You can't just bash your skills and hope to do the right damage as a Blade Dancer. So the trick here is to make sure that when you use the anti-cancel, you see this, like this, you need to wait for this sword to be up here in order to hit again. So let's say I'm using this, here like this. This is how you anti-cancel properly. and it is actually easy to master if you're not just bashing your keys, and it is recommended to do so. So again, here your sword goes up right here, and as soon as it is up you can hit again. So the reason why it is important to do it this way is because your any cancel actually does 2 stacks of damage. Here one, here another, one, another. And if you don't do it properly, you will lose about 20% of your DPS, which is actually a big loss. And if you learn to anti-cancel properly, you will have an excellent amount of damage. However, if you just bash your keys and things that's anti-canceling, you will lose a lot of damage. And a Blade Dancer who cannot anti-cancel properly and a Blade Dancer who can anti-cancel properly do have a large amount of difference in DPS, and which is why it is important to note. So the most important mechanic with a Blade Dancer is electric focus. When it says electrocutes enemy for 1 second, it means you will produce electric focus for 1 second. So here, if you use X behind an opponent, the most important thing is to spam left click so that you produce electric focuses. Here you see this buff right here, and as long as it's active you produce electric focus, and then you have 5 seconds in order to use it so that you can reset it, which is pretty neat. So another thing that a lot of Blade Dancers are not aware of is the fact that your critical damage and critical chance increases when you go in draw stance. For instance, here I'm in draw stance. You see my critical chance we've boosted up very much. So when I am in draw stance, I have 60% crit chance, which is why I strongly recommend using a critical damage version bracelet instead of using the Hongmoon one. Yes, the Hongmoon does give you a critical chance, it gives you attack power, it's nice and all, but do you really need it? Critical damage bonus is very important as if you want to do good amount of damage. The only drawback in using it is you lose critical chance. However, as you can see with my 55% default critical rate, I can actually use a Piston bracelet and have 60% critical chance, which is a very good amount of critical hit chance. You will barely miss critical attacks. If you look at the DPS meter, you have like 70% of your attacks are critting. It's 70% because of this ruby. In addition, I have this critical hit ruby, the inferior version being 1 critical hit. And if you have this ruby and a decent amount of critical rate, and you also know how to keep your draw stance up all the time, it is much more recommended to use a Piston bracelet or a Asura bracelet, critical damage version ones. However, the only thing I have noticed of using this Hongmoon bracelet is that if you want to play, for instance, with dual strike, or have also the invulnerability X, iframing X, and you will not be able to keep up your draw stance all the time. So here it is actually more interesting to use your bracelet if you are to hit like this, if you also do some wind build damage with your playstyle. So some people cannot keep up draw stance due to ping issues or because they don't know rotations, and in that case it is recommended to use to use the Hongbun bracelet. Another place where you could use it is in PvP, because it gives you a good amount of block, and you will not be critting that much. I mean, block is good in PvP, it gives you defensive stats and attack power, which is very important. Critical damage not being of that much importance in PvP against people who have critical defense. However, in PvE, if you know how to keep up your drawing stance up, it is much more recommended to use a critical damage version. So now let's see how PvE rotations work. So basically the objective is to keep up your draw stance, so you can press X just and you cancel. Then you could use C, for instance. Keep attacking. F. So you get behind with a right click, you auto attack 3 times. Press 2 in order to regen your chi. Then you can just spam right click. Press C. 3 and C. As soon as you run out of your buff right here, electric surge buff, as soon as you run out of any cancel property, you can use X, auto attack properly. Then you use F, V keep auto attacking. Make sure you auto any cancel properly. So here you run out of focus. Make sure you don't. Press W, Z, if you have the American version. Basically you make sure you keep your focus up, either by any cancelling or using other spells that regenerate your focus. Once you run out of focus, you just regen it with other skills that regen your focus. So this build is very good. If your objective is to dish out the maximum amount of damage, keep up your drawing stance, and the boss you cannot grab that much, or you can't grab at all. However, like I said, some bosses have very short frames where you can CC them, and just doing this will not work. So you can just change it to 2 and just stun it. It's still possible to do well. So just remember to use X behind the enemy so that you produce electric surges. Your Z also produces electric surges. Here you can see my focus doesn't go down because I'm anti-cancel properly, which is another paramount importance in PvE to anti-cancel. Then when your skills are pretty much in cooldown, you can just CC the boss, grab him, do your stuff, and this also puts you back in drawing stance. So also here my drawing stance goes down. If it was a real boss, I could just grab him and use him for use this skill in order to up my drawing stance. And you have the soul badge, which you can buy in Motion Hall. You can pretty much be in drawing stance all the time. Fortunately, I did not have the opportunity to farm this seriously yet, and I think I should do it. So basically this soul badge. Enhanced soul stat, cooldown of phantom grip resets. Basically it resets this as soon as you press 2 when you grabbed soul step. So that's it pretty much for the PVE rotations. Maybe you'd like to see it in real time. Let's show you quickly how it works. Just on a random boss here. And then I will show you how to build up your Blade Dancer in the arena and also in the open world PvP. So a lot of people recommend using multi-slash as your 2 skill, but like I said, I prefer using raid because it's just more practical. You don't always want to just press 1, especially when bosses have short frames where you can't see them. You're with random people who don't really see. So anyways, let's see how this build works. So I got behind him, auto attack 3 times. Wow. That thing died too fast. Anyways, as you can see, you do fast amounts of damage and it works. So like I said, the animation cancelling. Do you see lightning strike and lightning flash? That's what I'm talking about. As you can see, it has pretty much the same damage, 50%, 15%. And if I wasn't any cancelling properly, you would notice that lightning strike would do more damage than lightning flash. Here, if it has the same damage, it means I animation cancelled properly. That's how you notice if you're doing the any cancelling right or wrong. So yeah, flicker is your main source of damage, then it's lightning strike. If you just press F, the first attack of your F is lightning strike, and lightning flash is your second attack of your F. So if you do the animation cancelling here, my damage increased by 15%. If I wasn't doing it properly, I would do 15% damage less. So anyways, that's it for the PvE build. Now let's see how to build in arena and afterwards in open world PvP. So in 1 versus 1, what you have to do is just your main source of damage is just your C. When it's down, you don't do that much damage, so you just have to buy time, either by knocking up your enemy or keeping him down with all your CCs. And when you grab, you just gotta make sure you don't actually, I mean, in high elo they will just counter your soul stab skill or whatever you use. Most of them know how to counter it if they know how to play. So it's actually better to just put 1 point in it and save your other points for something else. For instance, here the daze is not necessary, but you could use it. This put unconscious, it's very useful in 6 versus 6 because you can just turn on the opponent and put him to sleep, but you don't need it in the arena. So you just take out this point. You could use them to have more recover HP. You also need enough points to knock them up, so I will just remove this and put it here. And what can I say? You could buy I actually bought this skill so that it pierces parry or block. which is useful in removing A-chain block, for instance, from Blade Masters, since they just use A-chain block and keep spamming one, so you just can't break their shield. And with this skill you can, or a destroyer who keeps spinning all the time, you can just RMB him. But you could also use the Asura version, which does a critical hit on a knockdown or dazed enemy, which is actually very good. It will do good amounts of damage, since in the PvP 1 versus 1 this is actually much more better. But in mass PvP this has 8-meter range, which is good. People, it's chaos in mass PvP, so people just spin everywhere, can't control who you're hitting, and the fact that you pierce their parry or defense means they will not counter you. Another thing to note, anyways, let's just talk about the arena. So basically you put 5 points as usual in your C. Here you put the right version. You can use whatever you want here, this or this. For Blade Storm you don't need this, since you will not be using your skills that do ridiculous amounts of damage, since they can be easily parried. So creates 1 electrical focus upon critical hit. During electric surge. So basically, if you spec this point, it would mean you're using this skill. But if you're using the right skills that automatically crits, you don't need this point here, because it's for auto attacks, normal auto attacks. They'll produce electric surges, which is important if you were to use this version. Granted, it attacks faster and everything, but it doesn't crit, which is not very useful in the arena. If you're playing against low geared people who don't have critical defense, it might be more interesting in using this version, because it's this version is actually hard to hit when your opponent is not CC'd. If they keep moving, you can just spam flicker left version and kill them. But again, if they have a good critical defense and everything, it would not be interesting. So for lightning flash, blaze blade, in order to cancel blocks. If you don't need it, you can just spec this one. Now this is interesting. Here it's about preference, or against whatever classes you play. In low evil I would recommend using this vortex version, the parry version, but against soul fighters or whatever pierces your parry, warlocks, and other force master who's using the ice build, it's more recommended using this version, because it, and summoners as well, who are using defense parry penetration. It's more interesting in using this version. You can also use this version if you want more invulnerability, since it's 3 seconds, but it has bigger cooldown, and it doesn't remove debuffs like this one. So remove debuffs, it's actually interesting. It will remove the 5 poison stack from assassins or roots or whatever, so you could actually use this and get away with it. Anyway, this is all about preference and matchups. So for your tab you can just use this one, or you could use this one if you want. It's also pretty good, since when you use this one they can just use their tab again against you, and you will lose. But if you use this version, they will be knocked back, they cannot use a gap closer, and you have a chance to outplay them. And this is pretty much the standard build. Anyways, this for more cooldown. You could use this, but it's easily parryable. It can be parried or blocked or whatever, and you will have some chi management issues. So I prefer to use this one. For red you need your stun. This one removes their block approach skills, it means I cannot use gap closers, and this is very important. It enhances the range of your skill to 5 meters, which means it's more easy to hit. Here you can just use a daze version. This one is not necessary and waste of points. Now, what I was talking about, if you are in low elo and people cannot counter your soul stab or something, you're really good at tricking them in using it, you can just use this version and recover your focus every time you hit them. But if you just want to stall, it's actually better to use this, because it will be much lower cooldown, 24 seconds against 30 seconds, and only then it is good if you just use life drain and absorb chi, if you just want to buy time anyway. So here this gives a more HP recovery, why not? Actually I prefer to put some points in here, because HP recovery is important, and you only have 2 skills that recover your HP. There's a drain and the Guardian Tempest, so why not? This is to escape grabs, it's actually pretty good. If you want, you could use this. It removes gap closers, but I don't really see the use of it. Block approach skills, actually it might be interesting to spec the skill. I'm not giving it much attention, but it could be useful if you're not using if they cannot grab you, I mean. Since this is pretty much useless if they can't grab you. So this is for knocking them up, it's very good. For open world PvP I actually use this version so that they blow their escapes more. And if you have melee teammates with you, they can attack as well, because if you knock up someone who has tap down, they will escape easily. For instance, assassins or summoners, which is a very common mistake that people make in open world PvP. If you spec this, it's nice, but if you don't have a ranged ally next to you, you basically lose damage, and you won't do that much damage just doing one knock-up combo, air combo, if they have a decent build. And the points that you would put here, I'd like to put it in here, so that you can just knock down people. I mean, if you stun someone and you can put them KO, or against summoners in arena, it doesn't really work as well. But let's say 6 versus 6, a cat attacks you, you can just use this to parry as a cat and put him KO unconscious, which is very good. But then again, in arena it doesn't have much use, because even if you slip the cat, because the area is very small, he will just run to it and you will wake up the cat. So it's actually better to just kill the cat or something. But putting him to sleep, no, don't work. So anyways, here you could use this in order to have more iframes and regain your HP, but I prefer to use a daze version because it allows you to outplay your opponents more. And electric focus as usual. So now let's see how PvP works for the Blade Dancer. So here's a Blade Master. You could use the parry version. It's actually pretty good against Blade Masters because you can catch them off by surprise. Anyways, you could engage by grabbing him. He will knock you back, of course. Then depending on whether he'll use a C or not, you press 2 or you try to counter him. Here make sure you any cancel like I said before. So this is a bit of low elo, so you not see much, but this is just a guide, so I'm just trying to show you guys how to PvP and PvE, how the skills work. So here, as you can see, he parried, however my right click goes through. Here he counters as well, or not. Here, in order to avoid his knockback and make sure you hit into him, you can just use SS and Chi Drain. That's basically more or less how you PvP as a blade dancer. Anyways, this is just an in-depth guide and we'll try to focus on all aspects of the game. So now I will try to show you guys how to play in 6 versus 6, how the build works, what it does, and how strong it is. So anyways, what I like to use in 6 vs 6 is this bracelet, the Challenger Associate with Pierce. Next on, I mean, you just use 3 pieces into Pierce, and I mean you need some Pierce and some critical defense. So it is just a cheap version of the build, since I don't want to invest that much in open world PvP. So you can just use the piercing version or defense version. And I prefer to use defense because my defense is actually low, thanks to this build, and my piercing is alright. Need about 25% piercing if you want to do this in amount of damage. If you want to hit like a truck, you can put your defense piercing up to 33%. Or 35, you just max it out. Need some critical defense. Some people like to play with 2000. It is nice, but I mean, what's the point? You do no damage and people do no damage to you, you just stall. Unless you have a class that dishes out high damage like Summoner. As play Dancer, you will do absolutely no damage, so why even use it? So anyways, you need a pet. Just up this to see how it helps. The pet helps, you have more HP. And as for the build, here I like to use a parry version, and I also like to remove the knock aerial in this spell and use it on, well, first of all you need the restraint skill, so your allies can dish out good amount of damage. Then, this is actually irrelevant. It is nice to have, but you lose so much comparison. Could use Take Flight, 1 point, Boot 2 points, in order to KO the opponents if they are annoying or you want to just want to put them to sleep and capture. Put your 2 points in here. You could put 3 if you want, why not? It helps allies. And this is actually a waste of of skills to spec, because you just want to grab them, don't want to do much with it. Anyways, you will see.
Lobby changed to battleground. Searching for a battleground.
So let's hope we find a match first. I think I need to find someone to play with. If you queue by yourself, it will actually take a lot of time. Alright, no one seems to bother.
Searching for a
Let's
battleground.
just queue.
Moving to an open
Oh,
battleground.
nice. So anyways, here I'll just try to show you some aspects of open world PvPs that I deem important. Like for instance, with your sleeping spells, you can just put to sleep opponents or familiars that you don't want to deal with, or you can't kill. For instance, let's say somebody has an ultimate pet, crazy critical defense and shit. Your objective will be to put them to sleep so you can capture. Try to hide the pets if you can, because they cause some serious FPS drops. Anyways, let's see how it goes. To hide the pets, you just press Ctrl GG. I mean, you press G twice. So here you have some summoners, they will send their cat on you or not. So here what you can do is just grab this page so that people can instantly kill it. Alright.
Base destroyed.
Healed quite a lot. So here we're basically outmatched, so I just leave them to it and go bottom. One important thing to do in 6 versus 6 is estimate if your team will win a fight or not. If you think they will get crushed, it's actually better to just leave them there and try to go somewhere else when you can be more useful. Like there, from a glance you could tell it was a bad idea to fight them. So here they send their cat in. Alright. Try to deflect their cats. Sleep them.
Please move closer to target.
Where's the other cat? Alright, this guy has crazy amount of gear, so the best thing to do is just to put him to sleep. So you stun him, press 1, and he's asleep. This guy is actually killable, so you just kill him.
You cannot do that right now. Please move closer to target.
Make sure his cat doesn't fuck you up.
Base captured.
Right, so here you just go to heal. This guy doesn't look like him.
Battleground hero.
So like I said, the objective here is not to kill everyone you can. You can do that, it's actually very simple, but
Base captured.
it's risky, I mean.
A clan member has connected to the server.
To actually kill someone, you would need to hit them a lot, and it takes too much time to kill them. Like here, I can't target this guy. Here the cat was deflected, so I just slapped him, and someone woke him up. Nice.
Battleground hero.
Anyways,
Legendary.
here it's a waste of time. They're both very highly geared and don't take you a lot of amount of time to kill them.
Cannot do that right now.
So you can just put them to sleep. Like this guy blew his SS and damn it.
Base destroyed.
He's threw me on the wall, so he's not asleep. So here what you try to do when there's someone who has a high amount of defense. What the fuck? So here's the blade master who can just grab you, so you should get closer to him. Never mind, he grabbed me.
Lucian's fist.
Let's try to stick with the team and kill them.
Base destroyed.
But they all seem overgeared. So it's not that simple.
Battleground enemy is in the lead.
Like, why did I even hit this cat? I don't even know. So as you can see, it's actually pretty much useless to try to kill this guy. And the best thing you can do, if you can kill someone, is just to ignore him, but in this case I'll try to make an exception. So this guy just keeps hitting into all his decoys, so he actually heals quite a lot.
Base destroyed. Base captured. Battleground hero.
So when his cat was coming at me, you can just dodge it by pressing SS. Do that, he will not escape now.
Cannot do that right Please now. move closer to
Okay, make
target.
sure you focus the Blade Master because his HMZ is very disruptive.
The enemy is in the lead. Base captured.
So the advantage of having a sleeping boot is that you actually may force him to blow their
Base
tab,
destroyed.
which good players will never do, since they don't take that much damage. Wow, it took him 10 years to come here. Fuck. Oh, he was fighting some.
Your friend has connected to the server.
Base destroyed.
Please move closer to target.
So these summoners with high critical defense are actually pretty annoying and impossible to kill because they hear everything. So I emphasize the importance of the spells that put them unconscious, and
The party leader has been changed.
I think that will be it about the Blade Dancer guide I tried to make. So I hope this video was informative and will help you understand Blade Dancer better and try to adapt what I said into your own playstyle so that you can play as you want. Anyways, thanks for your attention, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. I'll try to make more instructive videos, and see you on the next video. Cheers!